There's a big assembly room for main events. There's a large dining room that has a terrace where we could go outside. There's a room called the Fireside Lounge where activities take place. There is there's a synagogue.
Hi, I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Comfort Life. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading retirement communities and care providers to uncover insights to community lifestyle, care, culture, and leadership. This includes insights from residents, family members, and administration. This is the Comfort Life Insider Perspective.
I chose the community because I got to know the community through my uncles living here first. And I was really impressed with the way this was not just an apartment building, it was a community. And I think the concerted effort on the part of the staff to individualize everybody's care plan and to make us able to live fully here and actively. When I first moved in, or when I first got to know the terraces through when I arranged for my uncle to move in, and the staff that interviewed him were wonderful, and they were so respectful to him. He was 84 when he moved in, and he had never lived in a retirement community before, and they were so caring and so respectful. And then when I moved in, they already knew me because I'd been 4.5 years with my uncle, and everything was totally different. They paid attention to what my needs were, and yeah, they were attentive, and they knew that I knew the community and had become a part of it. And my first reaction was, I'm home. I'm home. This is a place where I can stay and stay with comfort. He moved straight from the hospital and yes, it was different because he had made arrangements to move. Then he got sick, and he got sick like right before he was to move. So that was kind of a rush thing because he didn't have the normal orientation because he came right from the hospital, was here for a week, and then got sick again. And again, it was a very smooth transition. Things in, and then I count the first 2 weeks as not furniture and him not feeling so well. But then once he came back and recovered, and he was invited into all the activity of the house, of the community, and everybody was so hospitable and respectful, and he got very involved in the choir and very involved with people in the dining. And so he the management had matched him up with some residents that weren't new, and they sort of took him under their wing and introduced him to people. It was a little bit more planned, or went according to plan, I should say. And it was very, very smooth, because I felt like I already knew people. But again, the social worker gave me a choice of 2 dinner tables because we had assigned dinner seating. He did personality match for us, and I chose the one table, and we got to be really good friends. And I'm still good friends of the people that were at that table that aren't here, and still good friends with the people that are here, even though now, since COVID, we don't have assigned seats. Well, the facilities right now are still very much in transition, but almost done. There are 11 floors here. I'm on the 9th floor with a really nice view, lots of windows. That's one nice thing. It's bright. One of the really nice things about this building is that there are no long hallways. It's sort of a triangular shape. So even though there are quite a few people that live on the floor, we don't feel like we live on a floor with a lot of people, because there's a lounge area in two parts of that triangle. And so there's no one long hallway. So it doesn't feel like I'm in a big residence or an institution or anything like that. And there's artwork. One of the other things around here that's really beautiful is there are significant pieces of art on all of the walls, on all of the floors. In fact, on a winter day when it's not nice to go out, it's kind of fun to go around and see the artwork that's all cataloged at Baycrest, and so that makes it very bright. There's good lobby area, triangular shape, so no long hallways, lots of brightness in the rooms. The front lobby is very, very inviting. The renovations are just completing, so it had been boarded up, and we were so excited it all opened. So now it's nice. There's a really nice gathering space. There's a big assembly room for main events. There's a large dining room that has a terrace where we could go outside. There's a room called the Fireside Lounge where activities take place. There's a synagogue on the floor, on the main floor, and one that had been functioning on the ground floor. I don't know where that will be right now because the ground floor was under renovation. There's a really beautiful greenhouse, and that's one of my favorite places to hang out. The greenhouse is always open, and it's a very peaceful place with tables and chairs, and you can see out. I feel like it's full of oxygen. So there's a nice greenhouse. There are gym and pool facilities. The pool is the renovations are just completing at the pool. There's an art room. There are classes, like yoga classes. And when all of the renovations are done, there'll be more fitness classes going on. Lots of group activities, ranging from movie nights in the assembly room to in the summer, there are ice cream socials and barbecue. Yiddish classes, there are concerts every week. Really a range of things. There are lots of games, like for people who like to play bridge. I just learned how to play bridge, so I'm part of that group. Bridge and Rummikub and Scrabble, and really nice grounds outside to walk. There's a beautiful walkway, and it's very peaceful. It's in a residential, we're in a residential area, but very close to Yorkdale Mall, and Lawrence Plaza and Lawrence Square. So there's plenty of shopping. There's a community bus from the Toronto Transit Commission that comes and goes straight to Lawrence Square or Lawrence Plaza. So that's really convenient. Like 3 days a week it goes. So we're close to a lot of things, which I really appreciate. I used to live in downtown Toronto where everything was close. And when I first came up, I didn't know the neighborhood at all, but it's a really nice mix of nice residential area, quiet on the one hand, but very close to shopping on the other. Well, I felt at home right away because I felt like I had already been here because of my uncle. But I think for a lot of people and people that have told me, it takes a few months. It takes a few months because it's a new routine, and just to get to know everyone as a large staff, get to know everyone and start to feel comfortable. Like we have a new neighbor now on my floor, and someone encouraged her to come to bingo. I call bingo once a week, and it was nice because right away I could welcome her and introduce her to people. We called her by name, said she was new, and right away she could meet about 30 people, and they probably will remember her name long before she'll remember theirs. That's the other thing. It's large. It's a large residence, and it takes a while to get to know people's names. And I think, for some people that they start to feel at home when they've started to make friends and make acquaintances. But I think people here pretty much look out for each other. And if there's somebody new, they invite them to go to dinner with them or outside. So I would say it probably takes a few months to feel really through the cycle of everything. Even though the welcome couldn't be warmer, but you know, when you're moving from new move to a new location, new meals, everything. Yeah. Favorite thing to do, go to the greenhouse for sure, because I really like solitude. I really like solitude, and I'm a social animal on the one hand, but when I want quiet and just to hang out, um, that's where I go. And I don't know if many places have that greenhouse. I would say don't be afraid. That would be my first thing. And um, and don't be afraid to ask questions. The staff is really good about being open to questions. I would say to families, make sure that you know what living here is and what isn't. So it's not long-term care. When I first moved in, this is kind of funny. I'm one of the junior seniors here. I'm in my 60s, right? Yeah, so when I moved in, one of my friends said, "Oh, do they feed you there?" Like, feed me. Um, you know, and she was imagining that I was moving into something that was long-term care because she knew there were a lot of people that were seniors here. Um, so yeah, I would say families should just be real clear on where they're going, that their loved one is entering a community of very mixed abilities and very mixed ages, and that's an asset, not a liability. That's a really good thing. And not to be afraid to make the move. I think for some of my friends here, what was really difficult was, you know, things like the cooking is not like they would cook at home. So I think for families to know that institutional cooking is going to be something that has to meet a lot of people's needs. We have really good food here. That's a really big concern. Like, I was on residence council, and a lot of people, the food is the big is an issue, and so families should know. Yeah, it's they do really well, and that the food staff is flexible to meet people's needs and any dietary things that they need. Yeah, and I think to know that the family, when my uncle moved in, I was kind of afraid. I was afraid, you know, am I imposing too much by coming a lot? I had to find that balance of what was not going to interfere with my uncle's thriving here, and what was going to be enough presence, because he and I were very, very close, and I was his power of attorney. So I came a lot, but so I think just don't be afraid to ask questions and know what it is, what the terraces is and isn't. So it's not long-term care, but it's also not a place where you're expected to be at a lot of places at a certain time, because that's the other thing. Like, sometimes we see the activities and think we have to be at it. So it's good for families to know there's flexibility here, and that it's okay to not, for your loved one not to go to things they don't want to go to, or to just stay in their room and be in their apartment and have quiet time if they want it. Yeah, I think that's it. So I think my advice would be, for anybody moving anywhere, have a realistic sense of what your loved one needs. Not, I mean, before you shoot for the sky, like everything you want, make sure the needs are covered. So for example, if somebody needs to be where there is a nurse available all the time, not saying that they need the nurse all the time, but the availability of the nurse, look at that. That's one of the things that I need to be able to have medical attention, medical response. I have, and I've needed that a lot. So we have the emergency alarm system. So that's a need that I have, over and above everything. So I would say, yeah, make sure you know make a list of your loved one's needs, then make a list of the things that they really like to do, and what you can live with as a family member in terms of distance coming to visit, and making family arrangements for gatherings, that sort of thing, and just then go shopping from there. One of the things that I didn't know anything about the process. My uncle needed to move, and I knew absolutely nothing. And one of the things that really did impress me here was that it's everything, all the bases were covered, and in a respectful way. Like for me, I had a good gut feeling of the respect that he would have when he got here. And that was really important to me, that he wasn't just going to be a resident um, in a building, but he was actually going to be part of a community that he could interact with, but also where he could be safe, and have medical access to medical care. And I think for most of us, that's what it is. We need the access to medical care. We don't necessarily need constant medical care. And good social work. I mean, the social work team here is amazing, and the recreation staff here is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have done anything differently here. It was kind of a fluke the way I found the place for my uncle, and this was the first place that I looked into, and it was just like a match made in heaven. And everything worked out so well. And I think it's because of the way the staff functions together, because it's social work, it's recreation therapists, um, the nurses, there's a doctor here every day.
For more information about this community, you can visit their profile at comfortlife.ca.